This is Battlefield 6, a return to roots, a modern combat sandbox with fast pacing, class teamwork, and all-out warfare. And if you're jumping into the open beta this weekend, this is your ultimate beginner's guide. No fluff, no filler, just tips to help you dominate. Let's start by looking at the game's classes. Don't worry, these are closer to what we know and love from Battlefield 3 and 4. Gone are the annoying specialists from 2042. That being said, there are some differences from what you might remember, and if you want to know what class is right for you, then watch ahead. Starting with the Assault class. Good mobility, strong assault rifles, and now actual squad utility. You can now equip the Deploy Beacon. This is no longer a recon item. It moved to the Assault to promote flanking, team spawns, and it has limited uses as well as self-destructs once you spawn, so make sure you put it back down. Pop the Adrenaline Ejector before you breach. This will clear any effects like stuns or flashbangs, give you a movement speed boost, and helps you shrug off any flashbangs or incoming effects. This will not heal you though, they took that out. Assault players can also capture objectives faster for your squad when nearby, so don't just run solo, help your team push. There's a new class gadget as well called the Assault Ladder we should be seeing that fits perfectly with the destructible sandbox of Battlefield, blowing holes in walls and ascending. Some pro tips as well. For all classes, you'll have a specialization tree that as you work together as a squad, earn squad points. Whoever's squad leader, ping the objectives. You'll earn points and can use a call-in at the end. The Assault allowing for better audio, and another benefit is if you go prone and try and exit combat, that'll allow your squad to spawn on you sooner, especially with this class. Next, we have the Recon class. Recon isn't just about sniping, it's your team's eyes and ears. Auto spotting in the back line whenever you're aimed down sight. If you choose that specialization and level it up. With that sniper training, you'll actually hit headshots that no longer allow enemies to revive. And with this beta, we'll see the Spec Ops for the first time. This will allow you to move quietly while crouched or prone. Go prone to get any pings off of your head that enemies might have marked you with. But the essential for the Recon is the motion sensor, which you can counter by crouching or even going prone as you're moving. This only picks up movement until you get the final specialization of the UAV, which you can also shoot down with the Engineer, which we'll talk about, by locking on with the anti-air rockets or just shooting out of the air. No longer equipped with the Spawn Beacon, the Recons will have multiple C4 that also recharges, so don't feel useless against tanks. You gotta hit a flank, use your stealth, and drop some bombs on them. First though, the support. This is your squad's lifeline. You have ammo bags that are also health bags in one, portable cover, and faster revives, including a defibrillator to bring people back to life. This you can just instantly deploy to res, and if you charge up, allows you to shock multiple people all with one charge. With the support's quick revive trait, even if you don't bring those defibs, you'll be able to drag and res faster, although anybody will be able to drag to cover, be stationary to res faster as well. If you're playing with an Engineer, tell them to repair your cover if it's taken damage. It's actually quite good, and you can mount your weapon on top of it. As a support, you run the LMGs, which give you no movement speed penalty. You can run fast with them. This helps you suppress enemies, and suppression now only delays enemy healing. It no longer causes random bloom and inaccuracy with the weapon. So if you're ever getting shot, still keep focusing on hitting that shot. If you even unlock a bipod for that LMG, it'll allow you to go prone on the ground and mount it anywhere. This will increase your accuracy, but of course leaves you a sitting duck. If you are ducked tight behind cover, you can use that to your advantage by aiming down sight, and it will auto pick you up over the railing, as well as if you're near a doorway. But the best tip for any support is to maximize your rezzing potential. The more friendlies you have in the fight, the more pressure you can dish out, and all of that healing and rezzing will add to your squad's score level, getting you more UAVs and unlocks. Finally, as an Engineer, your job is to destroy enemy vehicles and keep friendly vehicles and utility running. Always carry a launcher. You can even carry an RPG and an anti-air. You also get a ton of score for using that blowtorch repair tool. Just try not to overheat it, although it has a sick reload animation if it does. As you level up your specialization tree, you'll get anti-armor training, giving you extra rockets, faster reloads. When you hit a vehicle, it also can cripple it, helping you to take those tanks out. And mines, which you put on the ground, no longer should be in the middle of the road. Leave them off on the side because it's more of a mortar effect that will land and hit the weak spot of any vehicle that comes close to it. If you do run the SGX submachine gun, you can also get a hand stop underbarrel attachment that allows you to sprint while shooting. That is insane. This is the specialization for submachine guns that give you very tight hip fire. Feel free to leave the optic behind and spray some people down. Sniping in Battlefield 6 can be incredibly satisfying, but it's not just point and click. Long-range shots actually require leading and compensating for gravity. Each sniper rifle has a unique velocity and drop rate. By default, your sniper will be 0 to 100 meters. You can ping the ground to see how far targets are away with a meter range check. You'll also notice every headshot you get will tell you the range of that target. If there's multiple lined up, you can gauge how much you need to lead your next shot. You can also 0 for 200 meters if you're doing very long range sniping or just aiming over their head for that. A hit marker with a damage number will confirm your shot landed. You can even turn that damage number off if you would like to in the settings. There's a lot of them, but adjust your aim based on how far you are. A beginner's mistake is to camp one spot forever. In Battlefield 6, sniper glint, or that scope glare, will give away your position to observant enemies. It is very bright. After 1 or 2 kills, relocate, change your vantage point, and if you have a lot of sniper glints looking back at you, just find a different angle. Remember that a sniper's job isn't just the killing, although those headshots and no respawns are great, it's also team reconnaissance. As you're aim down sight spotting, or if you see a tank in the distance, mark that. It'll be an indicator for your jet flying above that's hard to survey the battlefield. We'll know exactly where to drop some bombs, your engineers to move up, and RPG. The gadgets are incredibly effective in this game. Make sure you are utilizing them on cooldowns, whether that's nade launchers, blowing open walls while you're attacking on breakthrough, or motion sensors so that your squad has enemies marked. Battlefield 6's new kinesthetic combat system makes movement feel more fluid and tactical than ever. Slide to cover, vault over objects, sprint with your knife for speed boosts. If you pull that knife out, you'll run faster. Use contextual lean by walking up to a wall or corner. Underneath a ledge, your gun will go up, and as you aim down sight, your character will automatically adjust. If you're trying to get a shot right over a wall, take a few steps back to make sure the barrel clears that wall. Hitch rides on tanks, helicopters, and trucks to try to get into the battle and push the fight faster. While there's no traversal or tactical sprint in this game anymore, you can absolutely slide to cover or even slide and jump out of that slide to try to traverse more distance quickly. You can also effectively slide into prone, making yourself a smaller target, especially in dangerous zones. In fact, you diving backwards onto your back supine makes it quite hard to spot. You can get some cheeky kills with. While the environment is absolutely your ally, keep in mind, you can blow holes open in walls, clear entire doorways and buildings. Even a well-placed grenade or a knife, which is all we had access to, can open a windowsill. And if you're getting chased, you can destroy staircases or even bridges behind you on some maps. Some advanced mentions, drop shotting, useless. There's an animation you cannot shoot while doing. What's very effective, though, is a jump, and then if you hit crouch while in the air, you will land in a slide that you can also aim down sight while sliding to try to connect for some shots. I will say it's not an extended slide, but if you're charging into somebody's face, then you can slide right past them and turn around before they realize what hit them. You can get some effective kills. Now, we need to talk about vehicles. With a new Battlefield game comes some quality vehicle combat. Jets are only on the large maps. Spawn them in with the vehicle supply stations. You must be in the actual map, overviewing, looking for that bar to get to the top. You can also redeploy right at the beginning of the match and try to catch the first spawn about 20 seconds after the game starts. At least on the map we have access to here, you will be taking off mid-flight, so get ready to fly. For beginner pilots, this is going to take some time. Be patient. Generally, enemy helicopters and other jets are your priority. Your main machine gun cannon is extremely powerful and will kill them very quickly. That can be somewhat effective against infantry and even tanks this time around, but in this game you will have to have throttle control, making sure that you have the right speeds, slowing it on entry to maximize your time, and targeting around 315 miles per hour for the sharpest of turns. As you're going up, accelerating, going down, decelerating, you'll only be able to see those speeds when you're in first person on the left side of your screen. The altitude will be on your right. And if you hear the radio start saying, pull up, you better start. I highly recommend staying low towards the terrain, work on your flying, but try to set up ambushes where you can dump your entire load into that jet before they even realize what happened. If you're too far away and you have to go for shots, try some controlled bursts. You don't want to overheat this gun. Once you become comfortable in the air, though, line up some strafing runs on the enemy roads. Having somebody spotting tanks is incredibly helpful. Free look is now available for full third-person free look. As you're flying high, try to gauge where you want to drop your bombs, where you see the biggest threats, what objectives are being captured. You have an air-to-ground lock-on missile that you need to be pointed directly at the tanks to utilize. Holding aim down sight gives you a thermal camera, however, it'll flatten your jet while you're using that and is more for surveying the area. The ideal way to take down infantry, though, as well as many vehicles, is that bomb. Try to come down at a relatively steep angle while decelerating. Line that circle up with where you want to drop it, most likely in third person, and fly off looking back at the destruction you leave behind. There are some must-change settings, specifically for mouse and keyboard, in the jet, mainly spacebar for pitch up and left alt for pitch down. That'll be relative to whether you invert your controls, but understand these, as well as helos, are very difficult. This game gives you a lot of control. Before we get to those, though, tanks. Like jets, tanks spawn at the deployment base or even at the captured objectives on big maps. These you can just run up to at the start of a game, and they are incredibly powerful. If you have a tank on your team near you, try to keep this thing alive. It is what is going to help you take space on objectives and control the battlefield, always prioritizing taking out enemy tanks when possible. Use the third-person camera if you're in it to look above the battlefield, and try to always angle the front, which is your armored side, towards the enemy. If they get behind you, that weak spot, if it eats an RPG, will make you die quickly. Don't go solo. Bring a gunner, preferably an engineer with you so they can hop out and help repair. But having somebody in that seat will help keep the infantry, potential recons coming up to drop C4 on you, off of your tank. Tanks also act as mobile spawn points, so this will really help you push the fight. Being able to spawn on the back or in those extra seats that are in the tank, only the first two have actions that they can take. And if you're getting locked on, deploy those smokes to make sure they cannot get a successful shot off on you. Your biggest priority when you are in a tank is to eliminate the other tank. The default one at your spawns has a tow cable. When you shoot this, you're going to actually have to aim where it lands, so keep that crosshair on the enemy tank. If you can win that tank battle, back up, get a repair in, and top off, you now have an advantage. For the next couple of minutes, you could farm some kills. You're also devastating to helicopters, especially the M1 Abrams that spawn at Bravo and Echo objectives. And if you have an anti-air as well, super important, you are shutting those helicopters down. While they are difficult to utilize and fly, if you give them free reign, they are going to be a problem. Additionally, near those same objectives, at least for the beta, and on the peak map, there's two anti-air cannons that you can hop in at any point, help to deter any of those jets and helos flying over top. Finally, the helicopters. These do spawn at your base. You'll be able to run in them or spawn directly on them from the main menu. The one you have access to in the beta is very slow and quite heavy. Your first few flights should just be trying to master the controls. Stay low, use the terrain and buildings, although there's not many tall ones here. Ideally, trying to get behind enemy lines and then swooping in for a fast strafe run. Dump your entire rocket load. If you have a gunner, give them as much time as you possibly can to get some kills and get out. If you are stationary, you're gonna blow up from an RPG. RPGs can one-shot a helicopter, although they're very difficult to actually hit. You can also utilize the Stinger to lock onto the helicopter, much easier. The big thing with helos, as well as jets really, is you want to wait until that rocket is inbound on you. When it's locked, you'll see missile incoming and hear a fast beep. That's when you want to pop your flares, ideally using cover and breaking line of sight to just use those flares when you really need it to maximize your time actually being able to live. Some advanced tips for the chopper. These are based more on momentum. So whenever you push the up button, if you're angled sideways, you'll kind of launch yourself in that direction, and then you can continue to turn while still moving in that same direction until you actually engage more lift in the other direction. This can allow you to move back and forth to avoid some of those RPGs coming in while allowing your gunner time to get shots. But in order to get shots yourself with those rockets, you do have to tilt yourself in, which means you're going to fly over the battlefield quite quickly, and why it's so good to coordinate with somebody else. Now, if you get overwhelmed by all the game settings, don't worry. I've got you covered here as well. There's a lot that's going to be personal preference. I do recommend going through it. I wish there was a search function on it, but here's a couple of the standouts that I would recommend changing. Under accessibility, camera effects, turn down your world blur. Under accessibility, camera effects, turn down your world motion blur. I'm still leaving some on for cinematic effect. You may like it clean. Weapons and shake amount. Previously, if a building was shaking, it meant that the whole thing was coming down and you're going to die, jump out of the building. That might get you killed now. You will see a lot of shake for even just a wall or partial of a building coming down. Don't go jumping into the open for no reason. I'd recommend keeping crouch toggle sprint to stand. If you're crouched and go to sprint, it'll automatically stand you up and keep you going. When you jump out of buildings, landing roll, leave this on. Whenever you jump out of buildings or from high locations, spam the spacebar upon landing and you will perform a forward roll, mitigating the damage that you take from fall damage. Under the graphics setting, I have FOV set to 110. Especially in a game like this, there's often farther distances to look, so I'm not going fully up to 120. However, for vehicle third-person field of view, if you're in that tank, you want to see from all angles if somebody is running up to try and drop a C4 on you. If you're in a jet, you want to be able to see where enemies are in your presence. I maxed this out. Leaving wide for the weapon field of view makes it smaller and allows you to see the screen more. Less chance at enemies hidden behind your weapon. And most people turn the extra cinematic effects here off. V-Sync off. For your HUD, they actually give you quite a bit of customization. Typically, I bring my HUD padding in, so I don't need to look as far down to the corner to see the minimap. I upped some of the scale for view distance from close range, medium, and even far if you're in vehicles, for example, for that minimap. This allows you to see more detail within it. However, you are maxed on the size that you can make that minimap in the corner. You can even change the HUD icons, minimizing how much is going on your screen while you're running across the battlefield, making the objective smaller, especially when it's occluded. I only did some minor tweaks here, decreasing the opacity mainly when I'm zoomed in and aimed down sight, so some icon is not blocking my visuals. I still left the revive icon full capacity, so hopefully I actually revive people. And of course, you want to know where the enemy is, so leave this one all the way up. Also, a pro tip for all my jet pilots, if you go to mouse and keyboard control settings, you can actually set third-person aircraft camera roll to off so that the camera always stays level with the horizon. Some people like it when it follows the actual wings of the plane, but in this case, the wings would move and the camera stays stationary unless, of course, you go into first person. A longer video, but hopefully a very concise overview with everything that you needed. If you want to catch more of my coverage from Battlefield 6, make sure you're subscribed to the channel. If you have any more great tips you've seen in other videos or from playing the game, let us know in the comments below. And if there's any good comments, give them a like alongside the video. That's for this one, though. Thanks so much for watching. StoneMat64, over and out.